Hi guys. My presentation today is on the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program. So what is it? The Olweus Bullying Prevention Program was developed by Dr. Olweus of Norway, and it is designed based on his systematic research on bullying. The Olweus Bullying Prevention Program is designed for students in elementary, middle, and junior high school, students aged 5 to 15, and can be adapted for use in high schools as well. The goals. There are three major goals for the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program, and they are to reduce existing problems among students, prevent the development of new bullying problems, and to achieve better peer relations at school. And this is done, and one thing that I like about the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program is that the goal is to implement a system change on 4 different levels, not just in the classroom, but also around the entire school, the classroom, the individual, and the community as well. So this program takes into consideration the people that students interact with outside of school, so such as parents and other community members who may be interested in bullying prevention. Many schools come up with rules that follow the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program, and they all vary from school to school, but they all circulate around these central points. And the rules commonly read something like, we will not bully others, we will try to help students who are bullied, we will try to include students who are left out, and if we know that someone is being bullied, we will tell an adult at school and an adult at home. So that last rule especially incorporates the community feel of this program, bringing in the school and the community, trying to get everyone to come together to prevent bullying. So the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program attempts to reach and assist. The two major groups here are the students who bully, so those are the students who start the bullying and take an active part, and the students who are bullied, so the ones who are being bullied in school, the ones who are being victimized. But they also take into account many other groups of students. So they also attempt to reach and assist followers. So those are students who play an active part but do not actually start the bullying. And then there are the supporters, so students who support the bullying and who agree with the bullying but do not necessarily take an active role. There are the passive supporters, so students who like the bullying or agree with what's being done but do not openly say so. And then there are the disengaged onlookers, and those are the students or witnesses, because that could also be teachers and other school personnel, who witness the bullying, who see what's going on, but they simply don't care. They don't care one way or another. They don't like it, they don't think it's bad, so they just see it and then they ignore it. The Olweus Bullying Prevention Program also wants to engage possible defenders. So those are students who dislike the bullying and think they should help but don't, either because they are afraid to step in or they don't know how to help the students being bullied. And finally, the defenders, and those are the students who dislike the bullying and help or try to the best of their ability to help the bullied students. And the goal of this program is to get all students to become defenders. Statistics. The statistics show that there has been a 50% or more reduction in student reports of being bullied or bullying others, reduction in student reports of general antisocial behavior such as bullying, vandalism, school violence, fighting, theft, and truancy, improvements in the schoolroom social climate, as reflected in student reports, of improved order and discipline, more positive social relationships, and more positive attitudes towards schoolwork and school in general. There's also a greater support for students who are bullied and a stronger, more effective interventions for students who are bullied. So that last bullet point goes back to the goal of making all students defenders. So there's a greater support for students who are being bullied because all of these students are becoming defenders and standing up for the students who are being bullied. One major, it could be considered a drawback, but one major point about the Olweus bullying prevention program is that it does come at a cost. One major part of this is questionnaires, and these are questionnaires given to all of the students asking on their opinions on various goings on in the school, how often they see bullying in the hallways, what they view bullying to be, if they notice a lot of antisocial behavior or graffitiing, truancy, cutting class. It's observations from the students. And those costs, they range in cost from $39.50 to $30 for 30 questionnaires. And there's a price difference there because the more expensive ones are scannable, so they can be scanned into a program that collects all of the data straight from the questionnaire, whereas the cheaper ones have to be manually hand entered into the program, so that is more time intensive. And this is a recurring cost, so these questionnaires are helpful when you give them to the students every year, so you can see how the program is progressing from year to year, and you can get a sense from the students each year on what is going on in the school. And then the one-time fees are $79 for a committee member guide. Now, a committee member would be if you started a bullying prevention committee within the school, there would be committee members for that group, and each of those members would get a specific committee member guide, which each one costs $79, and that is a one-time fee. So if you have 12 members on your committee, you can buy 12 books, and that's a one-time fee. The only time you would need to purchase more is if you decide to add more members to the committee, or if one of the guides is misplaced or damaged. But other than that, that is a one-time fee. Also, there is a one-time teacher guide fee. So each teacher within the school or the school district would receive a teacher guide, and each of those is $46. Again, those would not need to be purchased every year. The only time you would need to purchase more is if you need additional booklets for additional teachers, or if some of the books get lost or damaged. Additionally, other costs are that the Olweus bullying prevention program does require a mandatory 2-day training session, which costs an average of $3,000, but the cost is capped at a maximum of $4,500. And this 2-day training session is mandatory, and the expected participants would be the principal, the vice principal, or more than one vice principal, a teacher from each grade level that is participating in the prevention program, a representative of the school's non-teaching staff, so that could be a guidance counselor or the school nurse, also several parents and or committee members who would like to partake in the prevention program, and that goes back to the making bullying prevention a community-wide initiative and not just a school-wide initiative. Additionally, you can also opt to get 10 months of electronic consultation for $1,500, and that is optional. On top of that, schools would have to pay substitute teachers while the various teachers are on their 2-day training session. They may also require a stipend for teachers who are part of the bullying prevention committee. Also, some schools, when they first introduce the Olweus bullying prevention program to their school, they may want to start off with a kickoff program. So they might want to do a pep rally, create videos on anti-bullying that they want to share during an assembly, all of which to require some funding. And also, as I mentioned earlier, they may need to purchase additional materials for new teachers or to replace lost materials. So to sum it up, suppose you attend a school with 500 students, 30 teachers, and you have a bullying prevention committee of 12 people. If we go with the cheapest questionnaire, that's the one that you have to manually enter in all of the data by hand, so you don't scan it in. That's $1 per questionnaire for 500 students, which comes out to $500. Then there's the one-time $79 fee for each community member guide or committee member guide, which comes out to a total of $948. And then again, the one-time teacher guide at $46 per teacher with 30 teachers is $1,380. And then the $3,000 for a 2-day training session, plus the additional $85 a day for 12 substitutes for 2 days for when the teachers are away on the 2-day training session, comes out to $2,040, which comes to a total of $4,868, which doesn't include funds for a kickoff celebration, because that may be funded by student council or other clubs or groups within the school. So it's $4,868, $500 of which is reoccurring each year. So the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program is a great idea because it does incorporate all of the school and it tries to get students to learn to stand up for each other, and the goal is to get all students to become defenders and to stand up against bullying and to stop bullying whenever they see it happen. However, there are some negatives. As we outlined on the previous slide, it does come at a very high cost, and in today's financial climate, not many schools can afford to spend $4,000 to start this initiative. And even then, the questionnaire is $500 a year. While it does seem minimal, if you are instituting this across a school district, that could be easily a few $1,000s per year just for questionnaires. Also, certain schools, such as inner city schools, may have a very high staff turnover rate. And the problem with this is that with a high turnover rate, there is a lack of consistency with the implementation of the program. New teachers may not have had the opportunity to attend the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program training that was mandatory at the start or implementation of the program. Also, some of the supplies as teachers leave the school and come into the school may have been lost. So that is where the additional cost for new teacher guides and for new committee member guides comes in. Also, there could be a lack of support or differing priorities. Some teachers might not view bullying prevention as a top priority, and they might not follow the program. So if not all teachers and community members, principals, vice principals stay consistent with the program, then students notice that some teachers care, other teachers don't care, and they'll know when and where they can bully other students, or they know when they can get away with certain things. So lack of support is one major problem with this, but it's also a problem with most anti-bullying programs. And then one article pointed out a very interesting possible negativity is the cultural difference. The statistics supporting the Olweus program came from studies done in Norway and Sweden. And in Norway and Sweden compared to America, there are many cultural differences. One thing the article pointed out was that if you commit a mass murder in Norway, you are sentenced to a maximum 21 years in prison. That's it, no more. Whereas in America, you could be convicted for multiple life sentences. So you could have 15 life sentences spent in jail with no hope of ever leaving. Norway does have one of the lowest crime rates in the world, and in America we tend to look to punish those who do wrong. So if we look to punish students who are bullying, that would not necessarily create an environment where students would want to then befriend the students they're bullying because they see that student as being the reason they were punished. So I just thought that was a very interesting thing that one article pointed out. Overall, I did find it difficult to find a lot of information on the Olweus Bullying Prevention Program. I think part of the reason for that is that you do have to pay for all of the program costs. But overall, I do think it is a very interesting idea. I love the fact that this program looks to incorporate not just school administrators, teachers, and students, but also the community as a whole, and making this a community initiative, so bringing everyone together to become defenders of the students who are being bullied.